So, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, meine Damen und Herren, señores y señoras, here we are once again, and it is Team Howard against Team Empire in this 2v2 final series of the Competo 2v2 Cup. The prize will be two headsets worth about $270 roughly, so quite a nice prize. And we have Team Empire represented by Cubit. Here is the Teal Terran, and Aristera is the Blue Zerg. And they are fighting against User here, now playing random, is now spawning as the purple Terran, and his ally is Wicked as the red Terran. So we have a Terran and Terran against a Terran and Zerg on Persona's Assault. And looks like User paused the game. He has some issues, and still waiting for him to finish and resolve these issues. Meanwhile, I'm just having to say something. Trolls gonna troll and haters gonna hate. And if people got nothing else to do than to troll, well done, you achieved your life accomplishment. So here we go. It looks like User had some problems with his keyboard. Problems got resolved, so I'm really curious. By the way, this map is called Persona's Assault. It is very safe to go for the natural expansions, and then we have some gold mineral expansions here in the middle. Very, very unsafe. Of course, in the middle there is the male Ursadak walking around, and like on steps of where the Ursadak cough is, this is actually the male Ursadak. This is the big Ursadak. And on the left side we have two bases, and on the right side we have two bases as well. Of course, there are the Zelnaga watchtower checking what's going on here in the middle of the map. And of course, we got the Urubu here as well, one of the most interesting critters possible. So Wicked is checking what Aristeo is doing. Looks like Aristeo wants to go for the extractor steal, and now Aristeo knows that they're up against two Terrans. So what do two Terrans do against the Terran and the Zerg? Of course, they have to watch out against Banelings. So I'm really interested if we might be seeing some Banelings. But of course, if you're playing against people Terran players in the early game, you might be able to go for some banings, because just go with your Terran ally and go for a timing push before they got the stim ready. This would be nice, or just get a good enough economy up. And looks like Aristeo wants to focus a little bit more on economy, because he is actually going hatchery before pool, before extractor. So I'm going for a more mineral heavy opening here. Meanwhile, what is Wicked doing? Is he going for the second refinery? No, not just yet. He's moving down with his SCV, checking if there are any units there, because they know they play against Terran. They play against two Terrans. There's no need to check for hidden or proxy pylons of any kind, because both guys were already in the base scouting what's going on, and they just saw the barracks being built there, and just having one barracks here at the front and one barracks proxying in the back, it's not very economic, because if the first push gets stopped, those Terrans going for one home race or one proxy race will be in a very bad position. So Cubit is taking out the last scouting marine here from Wicked, so there he just took care of that. Aristeo's Overlord still wandering around, or hovering around better to say, and then we have the factory is coming up for User. No second or third barracks for him, and User is going for the factory, for the reactor here on the barracks, and we might even see a reactor switch, and this is exactly what happens because if you're playing against two Terrans against a Terran and a Zerg, you need to get at least one player needs to get some mech, and getting some reacted Hellions out is a very good thing to deal, good thing to have to deal with Zerglings provided by the Zerg player. But Aristeo is not too much focusing on Zerg players right now. Meanwhile, we have the first engagement. The Wicked is here with his Marines. He did quite some damage, but now those Marines will take out each other. Meanwhile, Wicked will have one Marine left, but that's about it. Actually, we'll have 3 Marines left because he's moving in with some more reinforcements, but it's not looking too good for him. He's not doing enough damage here with his first units, and I mean, he's got 1 or 2 Marines there as well, but he must be a little bit curious because there were not too many Zerglings by Aristeo, but Aristeo's got now 12 Zerglings in production. He's got 6 Zerglings out, the speed now finished, and with the speedlings against the Hellions without the blue flame, he will be doing quite some damage there. But now Wicked with the Marines and the Hellions doing some damage. This one siege tank is under a lot of pressure. Those 2 Marines will get taken out pretty fast. There are more Zerglings arriving, helping out, taking out the Hellions. So 1 Hellion, 2 Hellions are down. He needs to watch out not to overextend with the siege tank. Siege mode just started here for Cubit, and Hellion is getting misclicked, getting taken out as well, and looks like those 2 guys are pulling back their Marines and their Marauders. They did some damage there, even though they did not do any too much of an economic damage. And we see Wicked going for the all barracks play. He's got 5 barracks and 2 barracks with the tech lab, 2 barracks with the reactor, and there we even see he has queued up the concussor shell right after the stim pack, even though he's got another tech lab available. So small mistake here by Wicked. Meanwhile, what is User doing? He's finished with the orbital command. He's on 3 barracks, 1 factory there as well. Cubit now started with his command center. Of course, Aristeo is finished with his own for quite a while, and Cubit's got 3 barracks and a factory out there as well. So we see an engineering bay coming up, and this is the nice timing I wanted to talk about, because yes, we see the Spire coming up for Aristeo. He's just producing more and more drones. Do we see an engineering bay for User? Yes, we do. So those 2 guys will wanted to make sure that they won't get harassed by Mutas too much, because yes, the Spire is finished in 10 seconds, and there are the Hellions, the Marines, and 2 Marauders moving out, because they just need to take care of their own bases. But with all those siege tanks being sieged up, this is just too much to handle. And here we see the siege tanks already with 4 kills, with 2 kills, even though this whole skirmish just lasted only for about 10 seconds. So now it's time to move back once again, maybe to just the gameplay, and go for a factory, and go for a starport, go for a drop, or just apply some map control here with this mobile unit against the immobile mech army. Their Wicked was forced to scan. Aristeo spotting the scan, just moving back with all of his Zerglings. He will soon might be going for an attack once again, forcing another stim maybe. Meanwhile, User started with his unit production as well, and it is not only Hellions right now, but he's going for the starport here at the reactor where the factory was producing the Hellions. Now he's got some Marines and Marauders still wandering around this map. This Overlord might get taken out, but he's just maybe concerned about the bushes here. And there are the Mutas of Aristeo now moving up. But there are already missile turrets awaiting them here next to the production facilities, and small, no, not that big of a mistake actually, only losing about 35 HP, and Wicked still not scanning, not stimming. Maybe Aristeo's plan is to force some stims off here. So Cubit is now moving out with his Marines and the Marauders, and Wicked is pulling back with his Marines and Marauders because he's left no other choice, because this is just a little bit too much to handle. There we see all the Marines and all the Marauders by User were just stimmed. The starport just finished, and the Medivac takes 42 seconds, so in about 30 seconds the 2 Medivacs are out, and as soon as the Medivacs are out, User and Wicked must be feeling pretty good because it's a tier T. It's two Terrans. The Medivacs of the one player can heal the Medivacs of the other player, and this is for example, what I saw quite a while ago as well. The one Terran player playing with a Zerg going for Medivacs, and then the Zerg player just got healed all his mutas all the time. He was constantly harassing. Oh, a muta was in the red, pull the muta back, the Medivacs will take care of it, healed the muta, and then he was able to go for the attack once again. So this mutaless Medivac play is really effective, and there we see user just making use of all of his units there and of the Medivacs. So here are the mutas trying to go for an attack from behind, and the Aristeer just doing a good job taking out the Medivacs, and there are just more Marines coming in. And when will Wicked go for a stim? And now one thing he needs to be a little bit more better defended against those missile turrets. He needs a single Thor, because otherwise user will be forced to constantly build missile turrets over and over again, or just leave some Marines in the base to be able to be to defend this. Meanwhile, Aristeer went for another expansion here in the bottom right. Qubit started to go for the command center at the gold, because yes, they got the missile turret, the sensor tower up, they got the siege tanks up, they got the reinforcement there, so why not go for the gold immediately? This is what he's doing, building up another sensor tower to protect and prevent their opponents from getting up a base. So he just needs to secure this area, and then they know, okay, now all of our opponents, although two of our opponents are in their own bases at the base and their own natural. But looks like they're now moving out. Still Marines and Marauders are moving in, but the siege tanks just obliterating all of those. But the Marines here by Wicked actually do a nice job at taking out nearly all of those mutas, and the Marines, the Marauders here by user just taking out all of the siege tanks. And big mistake by Aristeer. So he's taking out all of the mutas, nearly all of the mutas, all of the siege tanks are down. This command center has just been lifted up, and looks like I was a little bit too overconfident regarding this. And now the mutas will be able to catch those two Medivacs off guard, and this is actually a huge blow, just losing about 14 Marines, 3 Medivacs here. And now the mutas can once again take care of the rest, because this is just not enough Marines here to handle the mutas. And looks like in the end it is still enough. Aristeer suffering once again little too many losses. Units lost is telling us that it's all about the same. Meanwhile, we see Qubit landing here with a command center, building another one at the 10 o'clock, and supply is telling us that Qubit and Aristeer at 230 supply, meanwhile 210 supply for Team Howard. And there we see the Marauder stimming once again. Is he going for the siege tanks directly? No, he's not, because he's not allowed to. All the Zerglings, all the Marines with the stim and the mutas just obliterating and annihilating all the forces of Team Howard here at the same time. So the Empire guys doing a good job at reinforcing, making use of their superior macro and just crushing their opponent's forces. Finally, after suffering quite a lot of forces and this, after having this complete contain being destroyed, maybe they would have would have been a wise choice to move out a little bit more early. And there are the Stim Marines once again, and once again taking out one muta after another. And in the end, it's just too many Marines and too many mutas. And there we see, for example, all these Medivacs here by Qubit healing the mutas. And when we take a look at these mutas, for example, look at how fast he healed. 5 seconds ago he was at 31 HP, now he's back to full health once again. And all the mutas are in the green, no one is in the red, in the yellow, in the orange. So those mutas doing a good job. So Qubit finished his mining here on this base. He finished with his command center mining at this base as well. Meanwhile, we see just one planetary fortress coming up here by user. Aristeer just wants to go for the base there, and it looks like this command center will just take another 2 seconds. But now with the mutas in place, it's just a better thing to cancel the planetary fortress last second than investing in another 150 minerals and gas here as well. So user and Wicked are moving out to the center once again, taking care of this command center and the SCV, forcing another cancel there.